2010, they've been coming, but not as compared to last election.
Okay, comparing 2020 with 2016, I can say this time the market is very poor. In 2016, I think we have a lot of markets, but I don't know, maybe this year because of the COVID and other things. So comparing this year and the last 4 years, I think the difference is very big one, because in 2016 I have these people, a lot of these politicians, some of them buying about 10 motors from us, and this year we will not get it that. Maybe when they come, only 10, 5 and other they are buying, but it's not as the last 4 years.
The traders here at Alaba say they hope the sales would go up with a few days to the elections. For Citi Business News, Hafiz Tijani reporting.
Customers of defunct fund management companies, the Securities and Exchange Commission says you should cool down, Kra. As for your monies, you will get them soon, even up to 50,000 Ghana cedis. And for the rest, you will get them once the court cases with the various institutions are sorted out.
The Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, is reassuring affected clients of the defunct fund management companies, including customers of Gold Coast Fund Management Limited, now Black Shield Fund Management Company Limited, whose licenses were revoked, that payment processes for the government's partial bailout has begun in line with its earlier public notice on the 18th of November 2020. The partial cash bailout, which involves a payment of up to 50,000 Ghana cedis, will cover all clients. A statement issued by the SEC stated that validated claims in excess of this partial cash payout amount shall be covered after the liquidation proceedings in court, in line with the terms being applied under the bailout package for the clients of the fund management companies currently undergoing liquidation proceedings. It also states that a large number of affected clients have been sent SMS messages containing the value of their validated claims, with outstanding customers to be covered shortly. Interested claimants must now follow all simple steps online to access their partial bailout in cash.
Telling Ghana's business stories. Citi TV brings you a dedicated business news bulletin that showcases the business temperature of the country in one go. The business dashboard, the markets, industry, and policies that affect the way we do business. All covered in one bulletin. The business dashboard, 7 p.m. every weeknight on Citi TV. Citi TV is live on DSTV. Go to channel 363. On GoTV, access Citi TV on channel 182. On a digital TV, please press the menu button on the remote control and run a news search on your TV. Take note that without an antenna, you cannot access Citi TV on your television. Citi TV can be accessed on a free-to-air digital box like the GoTV and StarTimes box. Citi TV, it's your world.
The conversations that help you shape your spiritual journey as a Christian. Find the answers you seek. Catch the 700 Club with Pat Robertson every Sunday morning at 8:30 a.m. on Citi TV.
Thank you, Lizzie. It's going to be Christmas soon, and women would be buying new wigs, new makeup kits, and the like in preparation for the festive season. We all know how our women love to look beautiful, but do you know that in as much as African and African American women are major consumers of these products, they haven't really made significant contribution in its production? Well, we spoke to some African women in the US and they told us about how they are taking advantage of this multi-billion-dollar industry.
The global beauty industry is estimated to be above $20 billion, while the global weave industry alone is estimated at $10 billion. Although African women, both on the continent and in the diaspora, make up more than 90% of consumers of these products, their engagement in the sector as producers is very minimal. Jamila Mayaga, the founder of Al Jamila Luxury Hair, is a Burkinabe American whose trip to Asia as an international law student exposed her to the production side of her favorite weaves and sparked an interest in transforming Black women's role in the hair industry from consumers to producers.
I think it's extremely important because right now, even in the United States, not even just with hair companies, even if beauty supply stores, if you look around, especially in New York City, I actually did like a little study on, I believe less than 3% of beauty supply stores are Black owned. Everything is owned by Asians, meaning Koreans, Chinese, and it's unfortunate because we're a very substantial component of their customers. I would say more than 95%. I mean, you can just go in any urban beauty supply store, you'll see all the products are tailored towards women of color, and majority of the clients are women of color. So instead of being, just consumers, we have to make sure that we are also benefiting from the fact that these products are tailored to us. Like, people are, not to say people, people from other cultures are coming in and basically profiting off, the fact that us Black women, we like to look good. We like to always, be presentable, which is not a bad thing. That's an excellent thing. But we have to understand that, just economically speaking, we have to make sure that we benefit from that. It's just, we have to support each other. We have to make sure that we're able to open more beauty supply stores in our neighborhoods. We have to make sure that we start to control and be able to create more products, and we're not just solely dependent on them. I think that even in terms of helping, creating generational wealth, like we have to be able to establish our own stores that we can pass on to our children in the future.
Amakisi is a Ghanaian American whose fearless drive to help Black women get the shade of beauty products that fit their skin tone drove her to start Miss Kiss Beauty.
Use my mascara and the eyebrow pencil. I asked last season what they're looking forward to Miss Kiss Beauty. What are you looking for us to launch? And a lot of people said lip liners, eyebrow pencil, mascara. And I also asked them color. Recently, I just took a poll on my Instagram and over 300 people actually watched that Insta story. And 150 people voted and said they choose nude over red. So as a manager of the business, it gives me an idea as to what my audience want, not just what I want as the brand manager, but what my audience are looking for.
Amakisi says Black women should not only wear beauty products, but aim to be owners of businesses that produce these products.
When I will wear my products, when I was in the testing phase last year and I was wearing my products, women are like, oh, I like your lip color. Where is it from? And I'm like, oh, watch out. Miss Kiss Beauty is actually coming soon. So it taught me that I carry influence, and the influence I carry is to be passed on to other women.
With her success in the United States, Jamila is convinced now more than ever that Black women's role in the $10 billion weave industry should not only be limited to consumers, but brand owners, producers, and distributors.
I'm looking at the West African market, of course, because that's where I'm originally from. So I would hope that that's what we're able to do. And I would hope that we'd be able to become more of a distributor to other people who would like to start their own wig or hair businesses. So my goal is to really help others that want to do this business to understand that it's not that difficult. You just kind of need a plan and you need to market yourself, like I mentioned earlier. And there's definitely a lot of money to be made in the hair industry for Black women especially. because we can definitely, use ourselves as models. We know exactly what it is that we want. So we have to, begin to take this market and capitalize off of it, and help women be able to sustain their families. Like, it's a great market.
Away from African Americans in the diaspora, sometime last year, all these people were here in the country with us on the year of return thing. But things can only get better for the local tourism industry, because government says it's making some monies available to help boost the industry. The industry was one of the worst hit by the COVID-19 pandemic, losing millions of dollars. A lot of hotels and restaurants had to close down. Some had to downsize and lay off their employees. And the closure of the country's borders also meant that the key customers and the main clients of these tourist sites could not come into the country as the tourists. But government says it will help these businesses bounce back and take advantage of the industry.
The Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture has outlined its plan intended to revive and grow the tourism sector in the coming years. This includes the introduction of an insurance scheme to cater for players in the creative arts industry by January 1, 2021. The ministry has also indicated that an amount of $1.4 million has been allocated to support 15 small-medium enterprises in the sector due to the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. It further says some $4 million is being used for the development of tourist centers nationwide. Over $3 million will also be made available for key players in the tourism sector. The industry has been one of the worst hit since the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic. It is estimated to have lost in excess of $171 million as of June 2020. A lot of hotels were forced to shut down during the peak period of the pandemic, while others downsized their staff. Speaking at the Meet the Press series, Minister for Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts, Barbara Oting-Jesi, indicated that the move forms part of government's commitment to reviving the sector.
Government has an aggressive agenda for the rapid development of the creative industry and the tourism sector due to the tourism potential of the country. As part of this agenda, key projects and activities that are outlined for implementation by the ministry in our next term, when we have the 4 more years to do more, include establishment of the Film Village in Ashanti region, establishment of the Gold Museum in the Western region, establishment of the Kente Museum, which is even currently ongoing, implementation of a Memorandum of Understanding in respect of the W.E.B. Du Bois Memorial Center to develop it into an iconic center worthy of the stature of W.E.B. Du Bois, setting up of the Creative Industry Fund to support our creative arts industry players, setting up of the insurance scheme for the creative industry, establishment of a digital platform for the creative industry, development of Akwaba budget hotels to provide hotels at minimum rates to support tourism and domestic tourism.
There's a lot of talk for Ghana as a country to switch to renewable energy, especially because of the advantages it comes with. But not everybody thinks it's actually a good idea, especially if we want to industrialize. They argue that we need a reliable energy alternative that can produce enough power to drive our industries. Wondering what this energy alternative is? Let's find out. Presently, there are no nuclear power plants in Ghana, Even though Ghana's first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, set up the Ghana Atomic Energy Commission in 1963 and initiated plans for the Ghana nuclear reactor project on November 25, 1964. Despite the importance of power generation to the development of the economy, Ghana has largely focused on hydro and thermal generation. The Ghana Atomic Energy Commission plans to start building a nuclear power plant to be completed in 8 years. The government of Ghana has demonstrated some commitment to the development of nuclear power as an environmentally friendly energy source and is undertaking preparatory steps for nuclear energy generation. Nuclear energy is seen to be a very efficient energy option as it is one of the most low-carbon energy sources. It also has one of the smallest carbon footprints, and it is one of the answers to the energy gap. It is essential for the world's response to climate change and greenhouse gas emissions, and is reliable and cost-effective. In as much as this energy option has its advantages, it has its downsides too. Waste from nuclear plants is radioactive, and safe disposal is very difficult and expensive. Local thermal pollution from wastewater affects marine life. Large-scale accidents can be catastrophic. Public perception of nuclear power is negative, while cost of building and safely decommissioning are very high. Speaking to Citi Business News on the sidelines of a workshop organized by the Ghana Journalists Association in conjunction with Nuclear Power Ghana on nuclear energy, Dr. Seth Kofi Debra said Ghana has to focus on an effective energy mix.
I'm not saying we should forget about whatever we are doing and go nuclear. No, that's not what we are saying. We are saying that see nuclear as a viable option such that you will include it in the things that we are doing and things that we are building. So solar will be there, wind will be there, you will have the thermals, you will have the hydros, you have the mini hydros, but also focus on an energy source that is dense, also focus on an energy source that has high capacity factor, that has high availability factor, so that you can actually power your industries. And that's what we are saying, because with the current portfolio that we have, you see, if you listen to a hub very well, you will have the hydro providing energy to the vehicle. Why do we do that? Why don't we use panels to do that? Why don't we use thermal to do that? Because thermal on its own is expensive.
It looks like confidence in the financial sector is really growing because recent data from the Bank of Ghana has revealed that bank deposits have increased by 25%. That's quite surprising though, because people would have expected rather that because of the impact of the pandemic on businesses, there would have been a reduction, or that people also would be avoiding banking halls in order not to contract the virus. Maybe these banks have really figured a way of making their virtual platform more user-friendly for business folks who want to do business with them.
The Bank of Ghana's summary of macroeconomic and financial data for the year up to November 2020 shows that deposits as the main source of funding for the banking industry grew by 27% in October 2020, about 10% higher than the 17.1% increase recorded in October 2019, despite the country recording its first COVID-19 case in March, followed by subsequent lockdowns and restrictions on movement, as well as a slowdown of economic activity. Total deposits from that period onwards has been growing steadily. As at March, total deposits in the banking sector was 84 billion Ghana cedis. This jumped marginally to 84.4 billion in April and has since risen every month, with October recording total deposits of 100.2 billion Ghana cedi. Growth in total advances in the banking sector, which covers funds provided by banks to businesses, on the other hand, has seen a steady decline since March of 2020. Total advances grew by 13.7% in October 2020, about 3.5% lower than the 17.2% growth recorded in October 2019. A further analysis of the data shows that the percentage of non-performing loans in the banking sector, which covers any loan in which interest and/or principal payments are overdue only increased marginally during the year, despite fears by stakeholders that the impact of the pandemic could lead to many businesses defaulting on loan repayment, thereby worsening the NPL situation. Responding to the observation at the last MPC press conference, the Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, stated that the marginal increase in NPLs from 14.5% in March to 15.3% in October could be as a result of the moratorium placed by banks on the repayment of some loans by their customers.
Now, your observations about the pre-COVID NPLs and post-COVID, that there's been very little difference. We also noted that in our meetings, and we think that maybe it's too early to make any major assessment, because we also know that we ask the banks to give moratoriums to their clients, and it means that it's only after the period that they have given these, forbearances, that we can determine which loans are really performing and which ones are not really performing. So it might be too early to draw any hard conclusions about NPLs, and this is why we flag that as one of the tail risks of the pandemic, which we need to, in a sense, keep an eye on in terms of the supervisors of the banking system.
Almost every sector of the country's economy was impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. Even our imports and our exports were not spared. Now, this was mainly because of the impact of COVID-19 on the prices of crude oil. So it meant that this year, if the country sold the same quantity of crude oil as compared to last year, we got less money for it. Does that make sense?
According to the Bank of Ghana's summary of macroeconomic and financial data for November 2020, the country, as at October 2020, had received $12 billion from her exports this year. An estimated $10.26 billion was spent on importing goods for the same period. Exports and imports for the year up to October declined in value by about 7.5% and 10.7% respectively when compared to the values recorded within the same period last year. The data from the central bank also showed that Ghana recorded a positive balance of trade as at the end of October 2020. This was despite the fact that both total exports and imports recorded a decline in value. The general decline recorded across board can be attributed to the impact of COVID-19 on the price of Brent crude oil over the period under review. As at October 2019, the commodity was selling at $59.6 per barrel. However, it dropped to $41.4 per barrel in October, representing a year-to-date drop of 36.5%. The significant drop in the price of oil saw the value of oil exported by Ghana dropping to $2.4 billion as at October 2020 when compared to the $3.8 billion worth of oil exported in October 2019. On account of strong gold prices on the international market, the value of gold exported from January to October 2020 increased to $5.7 billion from the $5.2 billion recorded in the same period last year. This represents a 10.2% surge, indicating that investors are still holding trust in gold despite the impact of COVID-19 on the market. Despite a marginal drop in the price of cocoa, another major export commodity of Ghana for the period under review, the total value exported for the commodity increased by 8.30% year-on-year to record $1.8 billion.
That's kind of cynical. I mean, because I'm not sure that all that we have done have necessarily been to the benefit of middle class or wealthy people. So we will get to that.
Tune in to The Point of View this and every Monday and Wednesday at 9 p.m. as I, Bernard Avile, get the right guests, ask them relevant questions on issues that matter to you.
When MBB came, because they were not putting money in the sinking fund, They were not putting money in the sinking fund.
Yes.
That's why this curve is going up.
The money was going to the sinking fund, but it was not being applied to debt.
I think that there's a lot of apocryphal conspiracy theories around. And it's not different from 5G causes coronavirus, COVID-19 and things like that. So there's been this long-term held belief that somehow there are some people that have planned that they will bus hundreds of thousands of people to come and change Ghanaian electoral outcome. There is no evidence for it. There is absolutely no evidence for it.
I am saying that we have very professional herbalists in this country whose capacity I know because I've tried it. But also there are quack ones within them. And the earlier we weed them out, the better for them.
Remember, The Point of View is live every Monday and Wednesday at 9 p.m. only on Citi TV.
The Point of View is powered by Airtel Tigo. Have you heard that Airtel Tigo calls from 5 a.m. to 10 a.m. and Airtel Tigo money transfers are now free on new SIMs? Now you know. Airtel Tigo. Life is simple.
It's inspiration. It's the word. The teachings.
When is your time? When is your season? When is your turn? No amount of lies, no amount of liars, political liars, financial liars, family liars, hatred or spiritual liars, no amount of it can stop you.
Tune in to Voice of Inspiration with Archbishop Nicholas Duncan Williams every Sunday at 6:30 p.m. on Citi TV.
For those of us who are so attached to our phones and are always making calls, WhatsApping, browsing, and the likes, let me tell you something that will at least make us feel good about this, our habit. You know, the telcos were able to pay government 3.2 billion Ghana cedis in taxes last year. Now, that's about 10% of government's total tax earnings for 2019. At least we are contributing to a good cause. Or maybe it's time government considers scrapping or probably reducing the CST, the communication service tax, so that we'll be encouraged to make more calls and use our phones. Anna Yonko Hiblus.
Findings from a total tax contribution survey by the Ghana Chamber of Telecommunications have brought to light the significant contribution of the telecom sector towards Ghana's economic growth. According to the data, the sector's total taxes and payments to government amounted to over 3.2 billion Ghana cedis in 2019. This represents approximately 9.5% of Ghana's annual total tax revenue earnings. The study further showed that the mobile industry widely provides 6,700 direct jobs and over 1.8 million indirect jobs, contributing 2.93% to GDP, and invested over 1 billion Ghana cedis in capital expenditure within the 2019 fiscal year. The Telecoms Chamber used the total tax contribution methodology to measure total cash payments for business operations by its members over the period. The tax components included corporate income tax, value-added taxes, communication service tax, withholding taxes, and others. Chief Executive Officer of the Telecoms Chamber, Ken Ashigbe, gave a breakdown of the payments.
Value-added tax stood as one of the top tax lines in the industry, representing approximately 19% of the TCC in terms of money. In money terms, it was over 480 million cedis. Next one is the communication service tax. It also stood as another of the top tax lines in the study, representing 13% approximately of the total tax contribution. In monetary terms, it was over 414 million Ghana cedis. Corporate income tax, CIT, relating to tax borne by members of the chamber, represents approximately 26% of the total tax contribution. In monetary terms, it was 838 million Ghana cedis. other product taxes, regulatory fees, and the Universal Service Fund, which mainly consists of 1% annual net revenue required to be paid to the National Communication Authority on a quarterly basis. An additional 1% of total revenue required to be paid to an electronic fund set up by government, GIFEC, was approximately 101 million Ghana cedis. The members of the chamber are also large employers. We directly employed a total of approximately 6,700 employees, for whom pay as you earn was collected on their behalf and transmitted to government, a total of 96 million Ghana cedis.
It looks like confidence in the financial sector is really growing because recent data from the Bank of Ghana has revealed that bank deposits have increased by 25%. That's quite surprising though, because people would have expected rather that because of the impact of the pandemic on businesses, there would have been a reduction, or that people also would be avoiding banking halls in order not to contract the virus. Maybe these banks have really figured a way of making their virtual platform more user-friendly for business folks who want to do business with them.
The Bank of Ghana's summary of macroeconomic and financial data for the year up to November 2020 shows that deposits as the main source of funding for the banking industry grew by 27% in October 2020, about 10% higher than the 17.1% increase recorded in October 2019. Despite the country recording its first COVID-19 case in March, followed by subsequent lockdowns and restrictions on movement, as well as a slowdown of economic activity, total deposits from that period onwards has been growing steadily. As at March, total deposits in the banking sector was 84 billion Ghana cedis. This jumped marginally to 84.4 billion in April and has since risen every month, with October recording total deposits of 100.2 billion Ghana cedi. Growth in total advances in the banking sector, which covers funds provided by banks to businesses, on the other hand, has seen a steady decline since March of 2020. Total advances grew by 13.7% in October 2020, about 3.5% lower than the 17.2% growth recorded in October 2019. A further analysis of the data shows that the percentage of non-performing loans in the banking sector, which covers any loan in which interest and or principal payments are overdue, only increased marginally during the year, despite fears by stakeholders that the impact of the pandemic could lead to many businesses defaulting on loan repayment, thereby worsening the NPL situation. Responding to the observation at the last MPC press conference, the governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, stated that the marginal increase in NPLs from 14.5% in March to 15.3% in October could be as a result of the moratorium placed by banks on the repayment of some loans by their customers.
There appears to be an increasing interest in the growing of plants and flowers. A couple of years ago, this was the reserve of the rich elite. But there appears to be some businesses who are using innovative ways to get more people to be interested in this new hobby.
The global floral industry is projected to grow by $70.85 billion by 2027. In Africa, countries like Kenya are taking advantage in claiming 7% of the global trade and making some $400 million from export of floricultural products. Although Ghana has more natural resources to sustain a floricultural industry than Kenya, the country generated $2.5 million revenue from the sector, a figure that is far below the projected $120 million potential. The Plant Fairy is a company that has been in the sector for over 30 years. Its co-founder, Alberta Donko, is determined to increase their dominance in the industry and also help Ghana take a more prominent role in the global ecosystem.
We've added on services like landscape installation and consultation. Before, we used to only sell the plants, but now we offer advice to people who want to know more about installation, landscape, anything indoor or outdoor concerning plants. The reason we added those services was because we had customers coming back asking us how they could maintain their plants they bought. They used to have issues with the plants that it's either withering, it's dying, or something else. It's been infected. So we decided that we were going to add those services so we could serve them better. They don't just buy the plants and don't know what to do with it, but to offer the best advice whilst they are purchasing the plants. We do indoor, we do outdoor plants, We do, whether it's your balcony, if it's your office, centerpieces, anywhere, anything that's, anywhere you want to put plants, we do all those things. After selling the plants, we have pots. You can choose the vase you want, the planter you want. It comes in various colors. You can also decide on the color you want, and we get it in those colors. We have other plant ornaments like the pebbles, the rocks, just to beautify the plants when you place them in the vase.
Beyond supplying a wide range of products, the Plant Fairy also collaborates with vendors across the country, helping them grow as their market share increases.
Basically, we nurse some of the things ourselves. We work with other nursery growers who also nurse some of the plants and bring to us. For the planters or the pots, we have our factory in Mankasim, but we also take imports from other vendors from other areas like Sogakope. Some are from Dodowa, some are from Malangbari. So besides our pottery in Mankasim, we also have people who would bring their stuff for us to sell for them.
Like most sectors, the plant industry has its own set of problems.
We have more Ghanaians customers more than the whites, but if the white people came to buy the flowers, it's somehow good than the blacks, because the blacks is recently we are on it. We want to know what is called plants, but the white people know more plants than we the blacks. If in case of the charging self, if we charge the blacks, it's difficult for us to pay. But
that's Tony Somwa. He has been selling plants for 5 years and says though the industry is not where it needs to be, more young people are finding opportunities within its diverse value chain.
I think that the plant industry, horticulture or floriculture in Ghana has evolved. It has really grown. Growing up, I used to see only foreigners buy plants from the shop, but then with time, a lot of Ghanaians are patronizing plants.
Alberta believes that the surest way to grow is to provide a great experience for her customers.
Major quality is customer service. It's very, very important to my founder. She has a peculiar way of attending to her customers. She makes sure that you are served the right way. She makes sure that whenever you are buying the plants, she gives you the needed advice even before we added those services on board.
2 days ago was Black Friday. Did you go on a shopping spree? What did you get for yourself? I hope you didn't end up broke from grabbing a lot of those mouth-watering deals. Well, if you do not know what Black Friday is all about, it's basically a day in the year where businesses decide to give huge discounts on their products and services. And yeah, it does usually come with a lot of crowds at these centers. Now, let's find out how Black Friday fared this year in the midst of the pandemic.
Black Friday is the name given to the shopping day after Thanksgiving. It was originally called Black Friday because so many people went out to shop, resulting in traffic accidents and sometimes violence. Black Friday also officially opens the Christmas shopping season. But with the current global pandemic, which comes along with social distancing and a restricted number of people at a place, what does this year's Black Friday bring? Citi Business News made a first stop at Santopia in Accra Mall.
We are running 20% discounts on everything here from Friday to Sunday. The promo ends on Sunday. So we have brands like Killian, Creed, Clarice Christian, Amouage.
Ruth Otu-Ado is manager of the store, and she tells me the pandemic has rather increased their fortunes, as a number of people who would normally purchase items such as perfumes when they travel out of the country have now turned to her store to purchase them.
So I've realized that most of these products, when people travel, that's when they buy. But it's kind of because there's restriction on travel and that kind of thing, it's kind of to our advantage, because if you think about the 2 weeks when you travel, you have to go and wait and all those things, then it's better you buy your things here.
Maiden Home Decor, was our next stop, where we spoke to the store manager, Redeemer Kapu.
As of now, everybody knows today we are just more excited about Black Friday, and it's a one day. So we are offering our prestigious customers the best deals for today. They are 15% flat on the home decor bed sheets, Canon bed sheets with the various more brands. All the duvet covers, they are flat 15% off.
One of the most patronized shops at the mall was Mr. Price. Emmanuel Mreku is a shop attendant.
Since we started the Black Friday today, I haven't sat down, been hanging throughout. A lot of customers are tripping in and they are buying a lot of things in the shop. And it seems like everyone, if you are outside, wherever you are, come to Accra Mall, Mr. Price, come and shop. We have a lot of prices. You buy shorts, khaki shorts, jeans shorts, 3, you pay for only 2 of them, then 1 of them will be free for you.
One shop, however, did not report the high patronage levels like the previous ones. Zigzag, dealers in jewelry and other items. But with their promotion ending on Sunday, salesperson Pearl Amati tells me she is hopeful sales will pick up.
Started on Monday, and then we are ending it on Sunday, coming Sunday. Yes, we have a lot of items on discount. Almost everything is on discount. The sales this time it's not good. As compared to the previous years, this year's own is really bad. But we are still hoping that people will come out.
Anthony Asamoah is the manager of the mall and tells me the preparations that went into this year's Black Friday events.
Well, surprisingly, the whole world was hit by a pandemic. And we were very skeptical about what's going to happen. But we kept our heads up high, we kept positive, and now you can see what's happening. Even when you look around us, when you look in the whole mall is packed. People are shopping, and it's amazing because we are surprised what is happening right now. And Accra Mall also took advantage of the Black Friday to run a promotion called the Road to Black Friday. What it simply means is that on every weekend for 6 weeks we did activities, and today is to crown it up.
Let's hear from some shoppers now.
I'm calling to the shop to pick up a couple of things to take advantage of the Black Friday promotion and also to look around. That's the purpose of my being here.
Yeah, I'm here to look at what's on offer, what's available, and maybe buy a few things, maybe, yeah.
Well, this is where we draw the curtains on today's edition of the Business Weekly Show. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you had fun. Well, don't forget to check out our website, Citi Business News, for regular news updates. And tune in to the Business Dashboard on Citi TV at 7 p.m. sharp. My name is Michael Ogbodu. Thank you for watching. How many days is it to Christmas anyway? Stay informed and catch you next week.
Footprint is sponsored by Bethel Logistics Company Limited, experts in shipping logistics.
Hello, welcome to Footprint. My name is Samuel Atamensa. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll be getting into the real conversation with the man on the block for this episode. Welcome once again.
Born and bred in Edum, Kumasi, Wing Commander Patrick Nelson Ogbodu had his secondary education at Achimota School in Accra. Wing Commander Ogbodu is a retired Air Force officer and a pilot. He was sent for training in Italy under Kwame Nkrumah and was one of the first Ghanaians to be trained to fly a fighter jet. Wing Commander Patrick Nelson Ogbodu tells the rest of his story on Footprints now.
Welcome back. This is still Footprints on Citi TV. And as you now know, I have with me Wing Commander Patrick Ogbodu. Papa, it's good to see you.
Nice seeing you too.
It's been a while, but you are looking well, I must say.
It could be deceptive.
but it's not. I mean, you are looking well. And you've always been, a soldier at heart, and everything you do, your discipline and all the things you've done. So we thought it wise to catch up with you, for you to walk us through your own footprints. We will learn a thing or two, that I can assure our viewers. Wing Commander Patrick Ogbodu, that's the rank at which you retired from?
Yes, I retired as a Wing Commander.
Now tell me, how do we graduate? Where do we start from, and where do you end in the Air Force?
In the Air Force, you start as a pilot officer. You come to flying officer, then flight lieutenant, then squadron leader, then wing commander, then group captain, then air commodore, then air vice marshal, the marshal of the Air Force.
What is the topmost rank?
Marshal of the Air Force.
Okay.
We had one, Otu. Air Marshal
Air Marshal Otu, yes. Who passed away some time ago.
Yes.
Wow.
And got crashed when we were taking the body back to
Edukrum.
Yes.
That's correct. Yes. That's correct. Wow.
That's all we had.
But at that time, you were no more in the service.
At that time, I think I had just come out.
Come out, yeah.
But I was there when the helicopter took off to go to Edukrum.
And there was a crash.
And there was a crash. There was a crash before where they intended to have landed. They changed it to a school park, which was marked. But they forgot that that place was very dusty.